check, video check. Work is in the AL. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the stream. Glad you can join us today for another round of Motorsport Manager. Well, a bit of a recap. We did do a little bit of a late run yesterday because I had to do the end. So anyway, uh, situation is as it is. We didn't we did manage to get one pole finish due to a lucky break thanks to some parts violations from the original pole winner. And then we actually managed to get some good runs in Milan, but unfortunately our second driver Perez suffered a bit of a crash, and Vosu, our lead driver, had a bit of a hang up in the pit lane, partially because of me, but he also had some issues with starting late. Since he was, he had a bit of a lockup at the start of the race, and that kept him behind for most of it. Since we had to pit a bit earlier than the usual, we weren't able to get back with the team, and he had to settle for a 10th place finish. So now we have a chance to make up to that by finishing some of these, or if we're lucky, we might be able to get the entirety of the season up today. That is. Hopefully, we'll finally be able to get enough money to get that road car factory we've been saving up for over the past few seasons. But before that, I'd like to apologize. We started slightly later than usual. Actually, I was expecting to start even later, pretty much getting the same time as I did yesterday. I got lucky and finished what I needed to do earlier. Here's hoping going to have the same problems tomorrow, but I'm there's a very, very keen chance that I might do it again, so I'm just warning in advance. Probably post something in the news as well. Well, I don't know if, there's a good chance that it might be rescheduled, but I don't know. Can't really I can't really say much right now, but just in case, if you don't hear from me at the usual time tomorrow, just assume that I I will be late. Anyway, that should be something else for another time. Let's focus on our roads. Now, because of the crash, our number 2 driver, well, equal status driver, Perez, is now 4th. She had the number 2 spot for a couple of races, but unfortunately, because of that crash, she dropped significantly, and now both of the Ozu team drivers are in her spot. Now, the main problem is how she'll be able to come back. So I'm gonna need to renew Lois' contract by the looks of it. She's got better stats than Perez, to be honest, but I don't know if I want to promote her soon. I also need another reserve driver. About the same stat as Jacob here. He's got easy on fuel as well, so it's just something to think about as the season is winding down. Excellent. Need a new sponsor for slot 5. Okay, they got an upfront of 3 million and a bonus payment of 1. Just need to be 3rd and above. Ooh, that's a good backup. Not as well, as great as the one we just ended the deal with, ended the contract with, rather. But good enough. time being, especially since they're still at 7 races as well, and they got 3 million upfront. It should really help our finances in the next season. Thankfully, that drop in points did not put us down as far as marketing is concerned overall. But we really need to get Vosu up to speed as soon as possible, because he is still at 97%. But what do we have? We have Football Manager from the UK. That's one of their other games. Stonewall Bank, also from the UK. El Banco, Spain. Hang on. Yeah, Shimizu from Japan. I think Shimizu is actually part of the, was it the GT or was it the endurance team? I don't remember, but it's also in here. Cortez tires from the US, and then Broad Lake. So far, it's only Cortez for 4 stars. Now, if we can actually get 5 stars for all of these slots, I think we will get an achievement as well. I'm not too sure. I think we're still in a pretty decent spot for, crap, I forgot. Should I create the, get a new front wing? Or should I just save the money for next season? Because I feel like we can still get a better front wing for our for Vosu, which could help in the lower and low speed corners, but increase to build, reduction, increase to corner capability, red zoning. Yeah, I think we can go with this. Maybe. Shame we don't have a wind tunnel yet. Definitely gonna need that for next run. I need to get the money making first. Relatively cheap, actually. Now that that's up, let's save it again. And then we'll go straight into the money making process. No, not the money making process. Let's go ahead and push up the calendar. Got 13 days before the next iteration of the Black Sea Grand Prix. Practice is supposed to be cloudy, but the race is going to be stormy as all heck, which could help us make up better points and stay longer. Main issue is that since we don't have some of the parts, some of the boss parts we need, or rather mechanic parts we need, there's a good chance we will not have as much staying power with the tires as we want to. Real issue. Alright. Team. Done, actually. It's just waiting for the other tires, or the other parts to be complete, and then... Oh, Sa's retiring? Oh, she... 33? Hmm. Sa got switched down to reserve. That sucks. Teammates are... Gansler and Esteva. But Sa being a reserve driver? Hmm. Bad thing. Currently on target to be better than our projected end of season target of 4th, thanks to that first place run up. Main issue though is trying to get as much of that, as much money out of that as possible, so that at least we can get some parts built up to be competitive with the other teams in the Asia Pacific Super Cup if we ever get promoted, because there's a chance we might still be dropped. Okay, it's gonna be 26 laps. We could possibly do it in 1 lap run, since there's going to be a bit of rain. Our compounds are soft and medium. We can go for medium again for endurance. No need to worry about the extras. Let's hope we can actually do something right with that. Yeah. A bit more on tire wear sounds nice. Yeah, I know what you mean. Here's hoping we actually get better suppliers for our tires. Seriously, everything is awful. Yeah, I thought I was done with this yesterday. It looks like I still have a bit of a cold in there. Anyway, looks like the World Motorsport Championship had a bit of a shakeup in Vancouver with Makarova from Windsor scoring a pole finish by Scuderia Rossini's Husted, and the old-timer Tanakuchi Masahiko scores third for Steinman, but he's still down low there in eighth spot in the championship standings for drivers. Teammate Naito, meanwhile, fails to get into the podium, finishing at fourth, giving him enough points to stay ahead of Husted, who's only at 48 in the driver's standings. Steinman is still on top. Rossini is just 3 points away. If either Husted or Scuderia, Fox. Either Husted or Fox gets a decent showing in the next leg, good chance Steinman might lose their current lead. The Asia Pacific Super Cup. Fair spot from Rezato Corsa for this one as Elena Beretta scores pole finish, even getting a pole position bonus for qualifying in pole. She managed to keep her spots in. 52 seconds up. Best run. Team Keyta Charles Henry Asien scores second, and Chalski from Boa Esperanza snatches third. Fortunately, despite being because she is like the top contender so far, she she kind of failed to get enough points to dislodge Ribeiro from the Drivers' Championship lead, 7 points behind specifically. Tunisian, the other Team Keyta veteran, is still on third. Parker, who did surprise everybody by getting the pole finish in the previous run, is now down to fourth after failing to score anything in this stage. Like she failed to qualify. She and Gansler, her teammate from Vexala, are Firebird rather. Parker is Firebird, Gansler is Vexala. Okay, so two of the more dangerous European Racing Championship vets have failed to score significantly in the past in the current, rather the Sydney leg of the series, and are now way behind in the standings. We got 3 days left until the race is complete. The race is underway. Let's see. We have a 21-point lead over Ozu. Going to be a bit of a tough run because there's a good chance it could jump over us as far as teams are concerned. And we're only 23 points ahead of Strambi, so there's a good chance they can still get close. Oh, God. I like the complete 180 between paragraphs here. Confident, nervous. This is kind of funny because, technically speaking, we're pretty decent here. Though, well, we didn't really perform as great as we did last season. At least for the opening race. So I'm not too sure how this is going to affect everything here. If we fit that, we're gonna have to the reliability of that thing. 6 days after the race, they'll have their hands full for that. So now our car is still behind. Dang it! Got best on low speed corners, and we still got 3 races after this. Beijing, Rio, Vancouver. Right, let's go ahead and set up everything in the Black Sea now. There's hope. Ooh, boy, there is going to be a problem there. Pit crew is currently garbage. And I don't have a decent number of people in the reserve that I can use. Decent work. He's dropping significantly. Anybody I can use for this? Tires. Rear jack. We got somebody who's better in the rear jack that needs to... Okay, let's go for that one first. 73 instead of 91, not exactly the best. Front jack, though, I can definitely switch them around. Fueling 9. I have one who's 12, but he's pretty much tired. That's Umezu. 1377. Yeah, sure, let's go with that. Up, please. Anybody else I can use? Hirohara is too low. Watching that. Let's hope we can get something out of that for now. Now that we're here. Continue on. So, any of them can provide bonuses, and we already got a good... we're gonna get an assured 123,000 profit out of this, whether or not we get the sponsor objective. But there's a good chance we could still roll it out with this, so we can only go for Stonewall Bank, or we can go with El Banco. Safest is, of course, the football manager team, but it's a pretty low bonus, so I'm going with 3rd or above for this one. We're still going to get something out of this. There's a good chance we're going to miss stuff, so just be safe. To be honest, that Stonewall Bank bonus was a bit of a lucky stretch, thanks to the fact that what's it again? No, it was... Oh, there it is. It was Rivadero. Rivadero's car had some issues with illegal parts, and that helped us get the number we needed to get to 1st and get the sponsor objective. To how we're run with this. It's going to be an acceleration-based race. Some pretty decent rear wings as well, so means cornering, extra cornering maybe. As is the usual, we're going for medium tires. Acceleration, some harder suspension, extra rear wing angle. Gear ratio should be enough. So it's investment in handling. And we'll go for mediums. Extra acceleration. Let's go 44 for this one. Go for mediums as well. And let's go and practice. Hopefully we'll get it right on the first run. Because the course is a bit longer than the others, and that's going to be a problem trying to get a pit change, especially since we're at the start of the pit lane, which means these guys are going on an outlap. It'll take them a while to get on the main tarmac. So we need to get those setups quick and clean right off the bat. As the usual, looks like Buklova is still running ahead of Bosu on the numbers here. Practice-wise, that is. We're starting the flying laps. Which the cars a bit beyond their standard driving rate, and it looks like superb handling. Not to worry about. Here we go. It's gonna be light. No need to worry about that for now. Hang on. The main issue is whether or huh? What's going on over there? Something's off. Never mind. I think I'm seeing some weird stuff on my screen. Anywho, back to the practice. Looks like it's getting really heavy, but won't last much, so we're not going to switch our tires for the time being. Looks like Bosu, despite the fact that he's behind Buklova, managed to score a fairly decent run there. And he is now 0.07 tenths of a second ahead of Buklova. Arrow is feeling great right now, just the right setup. Unfortunately, because of the weather, though, the medium tire setup knowledge went down a bit, which means that it's a bit of a change-up over there. Okay, at the rate things are going, though, it seems like we can push the tires a bit while maintaining decent temperatures without having to worry too much about the acceleration. Got you. Increase the acceleration of Buklova. Oh crap, I didn't notice the time. It's only 6 minutes left. So let's go for 31 maybe. Keeping things as they are right now. Bosu still on top. Gear ratios are just right. Looks like he's very happy about the setup right now. Still, numbers aren't exactly reflective of the actual race day performance, especially when we have to worry about pit crews and all that. But the main issue is whether or not we can actually convert that to actual race day performance. Also, there's the fact that it takes a while for the temperature, or for the tire temperature to increase, even if we're in push mode. So, race trim is now at level 2. We've got 4 minutes left, and there's still the issue about the medium tires being left behind because of the rain. It's gonna be cloudy for the rest of the practice by the looks of it, so I think we don't need to worry about it on that end. Just good, seriously? I guess we need more downforce. So, something's weird about that. Bit more. Okay, maybe something like that on the acceleration. Maybe this could help him go over a bit more. Beyond good. 3 minutes left. Race trim is still at 40%. Gonna be a bit of a nail biter here. What? There won't be any rain. Probably just a bit of a drizzle, and then there'll be rain at the last minute. We're keeping it, we're focusing on the mediums for this one, because the slower compound, pretty much melts slower, even at push rates, so that's going to be helpful when we actually go into a dry run, just after the storm, just in case the storm dies up or something. Or dies out, rather. 1 minute left. Just below race trim level 3, and we still get something out of that. At least the tweaks the downforce seem to be decent. Let's hope we can get at least one green, or yeah, one green for both of them. Or one violet, if we're a bit lucky, really. Okay, race trim is at level 3, but unfortunately, tire's not. All still got one run into it. Can we at least get something for medium tires? I want it to be at level 3 as well, but nah. Because of the rain, that thing's not gonna run it. I'm not gonna run well on anything but good. One and two for both of our drivers so far. I'm not too confident about how I'll end up in the actual race. Bukalova snatches first in practice there, just 0.3 of a second ahead of Vosu. Oof, what the heck happened to Slavik this practice? Engelhardt is the driver to beat this run, I think. Well, you can beat her to pole because she's not driving. I was feeling great. Let's hope Perez appreciates what you've done for him, kid. Or her, rather. Okay, it's going to be an inter run. We'll keep the medium tires since the only component we can actually do. Can't use ultra softs. Unfortunately, don't even have any. Okay, looks like the speed balance was decent. Or at least the gear change was. Maybe if we had made the shift a bit longer, so there's a bit more focus on speed. For now, I think we can go with this. Keep him in inters for at least 6 laps? That's a little too early. Alright. Have to make do with that for now, and then we'll switch to mediums when we have to change. Vosu, meanwhile, managed to get 2 purples on his side. Bit of a balance setup on handling. Just on the edge of the oversteer understeer border there. Okay, considering the situation, I think it's a good idea to stay back for the time being. Remember, this is going to be a 25-lap race, so trying to rush things could be a risky factor that I don't know. 26 rather. There's rushing things could be really bad, so let's just stay in the back for the time being and hope nothing weird happens. Speaking of weird, what the heck? Perez jumps up to 14th. What the is going on over there? Pretty aggressive driving from Perez here. Actually, since we're going to change out the inter tires quickly, I think it's a good time to push it ahead, get the tire temperature higher, and maybe, just maybe, keep them on their toes. Speaking of keeping them on their toes, Vosu is now in 19th. Perez drops to 15th rather, as Amachi is now getting really aggressive. There's a good chance she might drop to 16th again. Yep, she's dropping. She's getting overrun by Ramsey as well. I think that's enough to keep them in the running, at least. As now there's still a bit of a pile-up on the second lap. She's back in 15th after that slow corner. And now she's really driving up the aggression. As we see some pretty early breakups on the straightaways. Just that the weather is going to be a bit more of an issue. Now that she's up to 14th, so we'll have to worry about switching. When we will we'll be switching tires, because some of them tend to switch 1 lap before the road starts to get real dry. Others stay already quickly change things. Well, speaking of being quick, here's Perez jumping up to 13th. No, well, she went down to 14th again because of Clark Smith there, but she is really getting aggressive right now. Now she's back down to 15th because of switch out with Strambi. Starting lap 4, 23 laps to go, but Perez is still competitive despite the fact that she's in the back. Really aggressive driving from the Frenchie here. Vosu, meanwhile, playing relaxed in the back there, just keeping Strambi away from him. Amachi is now way up front and could get ahead of her teammate if conditions don't change. But that may switch out soon, as we are now in lap 20, or lap 5, 22 laps to go. Vosu goes up to 18th. Perez is up to 15th, or rather, is having a fight for 15th with Griffin here. And things are starting to dry up. We might want to switch out soon. I think that's too early still. So if we could probably stick up to, or keep the drivers up to, okay, stop shouting in my ear. Looks like Amachi, Chu, Funker, and Clark Smith have read the room and have switched out already. Go for mediums for the time being. But let's leave Perez out on the dries for a bit more, since she is the one that eats tires faster. That's 5 people in the pit lane. They're all switching. They're switching 3 for mediums and 2 for softs. Looks like everybody else knows how to play with endurance on this one. Bosu is now down to 14th because of the relaxing driving. Perez still at 11th. Mazzozzini, Rivadero, and Coley are now top 3. Engelhardt is stuck in 4th. He's nearly down to 50% on his tires as well. Silveira at 10th, keeping Perez away. Now the road is almost dry. We're gonna send her. In now, switching her out to mediums. Fuel conditions not too much to worry about for now. But if things start to change here, we'll definitely need to switch out quickly. She's now currently first as we start lap 7. She will lose that position early as we approach the run. Now we're going for high here, so I think we're gonna need to switch out sooner or later. Tires seem to be decent at least. Vosu now drops to 13th as Davies gets ahead of him. And Perez is now about to switch out tires. Let's see if she can at least stay in the middle of the pack. She's now down to 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th. Now she's down to 15th. Clark Smith now blocking him. Vosu now up front. Might be a good time to push them ahead now that's going into 16th. I wonder. Most of the other guys up front are already putting up speed. Vosu now at 11th. He's behind Davis. Chu and Ramsey also ahead of him. Starting lap 9 and Rivadero scores fastest lap. Quick chance for a change here as well. We're looking at things from a different perspective now. Looks like Vosu is up to 10th. Perez still at 15th. Now Vosu is fighting with Ramsey for 9th place. Reeves jumps up to 5th. Mazzozzini just ahead of her by a couple of seconds. Or rather, a couple of milliseconds. Vosu still having trouble keeping things clean for him. Tire wear, thankfully, is not too much of an issue, so is tire temperature to start lap 10. Perez now up to 14th, and Griffin is now blocking her again. We're seeing some really weird tire wear readings here. I guess most of the early switchers are eating up their tires a little too fast just to stay in spots. Vosu almost got past Ramsey, but the slow turn allowed Ramsey to block him. Now coming out of the L corner, going into the long run before the home chicane. Start at lap 10 and Vosu is still at 10th, but for some reason Ramsey is backing up. A little too defensive for the American there, or the Canadian rather. And Chu seems to be enjoying this as he's still pushing up ahead, as Chu is now at 8th. Vosu still can't get past Ramsey. A bit of a fight there for 9th in the back. Rivadero, Engelhardt, and Coyce now on top. Perez is still at 14th, but Griffin and Davis have switched positions now. And we're starting lap 12 with a little change for both of our drivers. Perez definitely having trouble getting past Davis here. Griffin climbing in the ranks, he's now 11th. Sue taking advantage of the slow corners, paddle up to get up to 9th. Make that 8th as he is now ahead of Ramsey. Chu is now looking to keep him away, but it doesn't look like Sue is going to have any of that. Sue still on the run. Oh, looks like somebody went for the pit. Looks like Chu already went for a pit lane. So did Griffin. Now it's lap 13, and there's going to be a bit of problem as to whether or not we're going to switch early. Perez now up to 11th. She jumps ahead of the people in the pit lane. Sue at 7th. Whoa. Ramsey, it looks like he's asking for a pit change as well. Things looking a bit grim up front, though, as Sue is now stuck behind Reeves. There's also Mazzoncini to consider, and then there's the other Olds rival, Amachi, in the line. Sue almost got past, almost went up to 5th there. Ooh, he already went up to 5th, but he's still wheel-to-wheel with Davis here. Meanwhile, it's Reeves, actually. Davis is the other one here. Perez is the one who gets past Davis. Mazzoncini now in 4th. Driving on a relaxed pace for the time being, Sue manages to sneak past Reeves, and he is now in 5th. There's a good chance he can overtake Mazzoncini here, but he needs to focus. Seems like he's having trouble with the acceleration on the straights. Speaking of acceleration, Perez has accelerated, and she is now in 9th. Now she's behind Funker, who's still blocking her, even though they've switched up to a higher ranking. This spot. Ooh, Sue got a little scared on that straight. Couldn't get an overtake past Mazzoncini, and now we're starting lap 15 with pretty much the same numbers. Wow. Excellent outside corner overtake from Sue there. Pretty much not worried about having having the tire wall in the L turn. And now with Sue in 4th, he's got Amachi in his sights. Rivadero and Engelhardt still fighting for first, but Rivadero is well ahead with 4 seconds to spare. Could it be another sign of another illegal part? We'll have to see later. Meanwhile, it's now lap 16th, and there might be a need to switch things out here. Also gonna need to worry about fuel. So, it's 10. Go for 12 and 14 again, and fill up the fuel tank. Parts need fixing. Front wing. Go with the front wing. Let's pit Sue early and keep him in mediums. I think if we can pit early here, we might be able to stay in the running and manage to score some pretty decent points. Meanwhile, Perez is still at 9th. Might need a little bit of a push-up here. Maybe not. Speaking of push-up, Davis is going for a pit change. So it's Bunker. Looks like they know what's up. They've only got 10 laps to go, so there's a good chance we can also switch things out here for a bit. Fill up the fuel tank. Front wing needs a bit of change as well. That's going to be it. Perez is now up to 5th. Sue is down to 14th. Make that 13th. Looks like he managed to jump out of the pit lane a bit fast. I'll have to relax him a bit as what the hell? You're kidding me. Alright, looks like we'll have to switch out lanes soon, but I think Sue can still keep some spots in. Let's push the tires to the limit, since we're gonna switch tires soon. Now let's see if she can jump up a bit higher. Nope. Switching to wets. Oh, no need to fuel up. Need to change parts as well. Ah, we missed that pit change. Looks like we'll have to worry about that later, as Bosso is now up to 10th. Perez is down to 14th. Some of the front liners here will probably switch over to wets as well. Let's keep it at neutral so that it doesn't die out immediately. Fortunately, it looks like Perez is now down to 15th as Funker gets ahead of her. 8 laps to go here. Would still use a little more work up front. We'll need to push the parts a bit. Just keep it a push. Perez is now down up to 12th. Bosso down to 15th. Not exactly a good run here. Weather is definitely not helping our drivers any. Dang it, I probably need to restart this. That was a bad look from me. I did not check the weather at all. 7 laps to go. No change from the front lines here. Bosso is getting left behind. He is down to 13th. Perez is now 9th. Still a lot of work to do. Would probably use a bit more running. Probably ask them to push their cars a bit further up. But the problem is tire wear and tire temperature are going to be annoying as we start lap 21, 6 laps to go. Probably call for them to attack a bit. I did not see the numbers there. Okay, now just keep them in push. Pushing the tires a little too much is going to hurt them even worse. Bosso is now well behind. I don't think he's going to like this. And we're going to miss the sponsor objective for sure. Unless something happens up front, which definitely isn't going to happen. 5 laps to go. Perez still in the back. Not going to be able to take advantage of that. She's now at 8th though. Bosso at 12th. Can they still push it? We've still got 5 laps. I say again, 5 laps. Tire temperature, not too much of an issue for both of our drivers. But I think we're going to have to put the tires a bit for Bosso, as he pushed it a little too far. Ugh, that weather is annoying. 4 laps to go. Might need a bit of a push-up again. Perez trying desperately to at least get up in the ranks. Engelhardt's gonna have some wins here by the looks of it. Chairman's definitely not gonna be happy here. Bosso having trouble getting past Balkan. Trying to push things a little further. At least get both of our drivers to top 10. I don't think we're going to be able to get anything about that. Now we're 3 laps left. As we start lap 24 with a really stormy road, I can barely see anything out here. Things have changed a bit though in the back, as Bosso is now at 11th. Wonder if he can keep it though. Still pushing on the tires a bit. We might have to relax Perez just a tad slightly there. Schober, though, is well ahead of Bosso. Unless Bosso can take advantage of those slow turns, he won't be able to jump out of the lower 10. Meanwhile, Perez is still at 8th as we start lap 25. Still a bit of a trouble here. Got 2 laps to go, but, well, not much in terms of speed. Perez still stuck behind El Sadat. Can she get back into it? 38% left on her tires, 50% with Bosso. El Sadat really putting on the pressure here in the final lap as well. I don't think Perez is going to be able to get anything out of this. Looks like El Sadat is well in drive here. Nonetheless, I think we're still in a decent spot to maintain our current runnings for the championship. So we will miss the sponsor objective by a bit. Bossu still having trouble with Shover in the back. Perez having trouble with Elsa Dot up front. Now the race is over. It doesn't look like we're going to see any changes on the numbers at the end. Perez is at 8th. And Vosu. Wow, Vosu managed to score a 10th here. Unfortunately, because of some poor planning on my part, mostly because I did not pay attention to the weather, we had to switch out the tires there. Engelhardt will be happy with his performance in this leg as he bags another pole. Let's just move on from this one. I really should have paid attention to the weather. They did say it was going to be stormy. I got a little carried away because we managed to get a pretty decent running towards the early parts there. Let's see the scrutineering on our part. Again, Rivadero with another set of illegal parts, and that drops her even further. She is now 14th, 10 places. So, at least the fastest lap bonus still goes to her, despite the fact that she had illegal parts this whole time. That's definitely not gonna be something to be happy about for Archer BMR. Strami and Amachi managed to score the podium for this one. Ozu will be happy with the performance, but nonetheless, they are still behind. Strami is down 17. Amachi is 22, and because of the weaker performance, well, the better performance rather, Perez is behind 29. Now the gap between Watson and Ozu have become smaller, 10 points behind. Now we need to make our way, or rather work our way better here, because it's going to be a long 2-stop race. I'm sure it's going to be another 31-lap race in Beijing, so we'll have to be a bit more tactical here. Going to be playing with the long runner before we switch out. Driver morale kind of dropped again. No change from Perez, surprisingly. Mostly managed to score second because of the combined points there. It looks like the chairman is happy. Fortunately, we missed our goal. At the very least, we did get 228,000 out of that. So at least we got something. Definitely need to work our way back up, unfortunately. Just so we can we can prevent Ozu from getting our spot in the driver's standings. Speaking of, let's look at the news. 36% condition drop for Bosu, 32 for Perez. That's a weird one. Okay, what's on this one? Now we already have good drivers, and Engelhardt is on his way out anyway, so 6/10 of a second slower than the record. Sucks. Still a bit of a problem with the pit crew. Whoa, who's this guy? Not somebody I'd want for refueling, and his stats rating is 1. He's the cheapest, though. Kind of a shame. Well, car repair is complete. They got a design center upgrade. $35,000 each. Second behind. Performance center, right? Yeah, we're currently 6th overall, 2nd overall on staff, 3rd overall in the factory, but we've got best design center. Just 2nd overall for branding, however. That sucks. The parts improvements, we still got 14 days before Beijing. Almost done here, then we'll go to performance, probably faster there. See how things are going to happen here. We've currently got $36 million, so if we do well in this season, we can definitely get twice that. Probably get enough money over to build good parts for the next season. This work almost done, nothing popping up in the news. this. Okay, done with the reliability. Currently first, yes. Ah, that sucks. Of course, yeah. Dragon Race team is currently at the back, so if they don't get the bonus, they'll definitely struggle next season. Bossu, what the heck are you talking about? Good lord, man, that's very bad for marketing. I would like to reiterate that whatever our driver says does not exactly reflect the mindset of the team. So that's on him. I guess being Estonian, that's the kind of mindset he has. So, okay, it's gonna be 31 laps. So it's gonna be a two-stopper, unfortunately. Question is, when do I stop? 10:20? 10:20 seems to be, so it's 11:21, 31. I say we go with endurance so that it'll be a bit, we can go for a bit later in the second or for both stops. Those speed corners, which means we got front wing is about to worry about. Now, we can adjust the front wing. The newer one has a lower performance than the one Perez has, but it's better for Bossu, so I think we'll switch him out with this. So definitely need some more just to morale though. I mean, yeah, but they're currently paid drivers, or they're helping us stay competitive production-wise. Once we actually start making money, I'll probably look into getting better drivers. For now, they're the best we can get, and I think they're actually pretty decent at what they do. Paid driver bonuses aside. Singapore and Vancouver this time. That's a nice one. Naito's still on top. 70 points actually, but Rossini is definitely looking at him with some pretty hungry eyes, and there's only 3 more races left after this, so there's a good chance Rossini could still score some points team-wise to actually jump out of Steinman. Definitely enough, just 2 points behind Steinman there. As far as drivers are concerned, it looks like it's a Naito run already. Only 8 points, so yeah. Naito pretty much has this in the bag as far as drivers are concerned. Meanwhile, in the Asia Pacific Super Cup, Barreda seems to be getting a bit more consistent, and she is now in third overall, just behind Bochalski, who managed to score third in this race. Delinkvist, the classic, is now second. Well, he scored second, but that is not enough to get him out of the top 10, and he is only getting up to the top 10 rather. And he is still below at the 13th spot in the Drivers' Championship. The once mighty John Navarro from Thornton has been a no-show for a couple of stages now, and he is now down at 6th. Who else needs to be a bit of a worry here? That's Ines Santana for Risato Corsa, who's currently at 8th. To worry about, nothing to work on, rather. Heck no. 1 million for that? Nope. Okay, what helped us get? Oh, it's the sponsors, yes. No, last place. Okay, pre-race. Nostrami definitely has a good chance here. Why would you put that much pressure on our team, guys? Seriously? Uh, Yeah. I'll go with the against on this one. You know, let's see. Mario Louis. Next name. Let's get to the end, see how it goes. Sorry, boys, but somebody has to help the guys in the back stay competitive. I don't really care about what Wasu's thoughts on the matter are. He can complain all he wants. Only 4. That's it. Well, stick with El Banco again. Parts seem to be okay. Let's save up. Hang on. Sorry about that. I had to take a sip. The heck? 14 degrees? Pretty cold. Pretty odd to have that cold temperature in Beijing at this time of year. Okay, what's the idea? So it's gonna be 2 stops. So this is a 31 lap race. So we're going for the slower tires. It was raining. It scared the hell out of me. Okay. Front wings. The rear wing. Bits of acceleration. No. Bits of. Okay, 1 set of acceleration. Some stiffness. And we'll go for soft, so it's going to be 13 to 15. Switch over to softs. 12 to 14 laps. Not exactly a lot in terms of distance, but that's probably going to help us stay in the running for a bit longer. Though ideally, I'd rather that Perez can handle the tires a bit more efficiently, so that she can stay in the running for as long as Wasu is. Let's stick to this. Hopefully we'll get it right on the first run. I haven't been able to get it right on the first run for a couple of races now. Oh. Here's hoping things will look up. They don't seem to be looking up. That bar should be around here by now and on a decent run. Now I'm not feeling confident at all. The gear ratio seems to be decent at least, but there's definitely a lot of room for improvement. Especially on that hillside. Supokalova fighting for first here in the timesheets. Tight race, type stopping. Ooh. Supokalova almost got that, but she is a 1/10 of a second behind, almost 2/10 of a second behind. Managed to close the distance, but not fast enough to at least get within striking distance. But by the looks of it, looks like she's getting the numbers. Griffin jumping ahead. Now that's a surprise. Maybe not. I remember Griffin getting the better results here in Beijing. It was one of his favorite laps. Oh, Elsa Dot's also jumping in. That's not a good sign for us. Hello, back on top again. Definitely not having any of that. Handling is spot on. Wait, what? Why is it draining? Do I want to switch? I feel like it's not going to last long anyways. Never mind. Okay, we're going and we're going to send in Bukalova first. No, it's going to change in the last 3 minutes. Let's see if Bukalova's got anything that needs to be switched out. If not, I think she'll be okay. Everybody else needs to be rolling up as well. Rolling up with their tire. Ooh, boy, that's gonna be real wet. Okay, her downforce needs some work though. Probably a little more downforce. Slightly downforce. Bit of reduction in tire pressure. I could probably get some inters out. Be on the safe side. Pretty decent at that rate. So let's go and switch her out to inters while Sue is gonna stick to softs. They won't be as effective out front, mostly because of the weather, but at the very least we'll have something rolling out here. Knowledge unlocked race trim is now at level 2. It's quick, but there's going to be another set of raindrops at the last 3 minutes of the run. This is his in-lap already. Not good. Excellent. We just need to adjust the acceleration, and there's a good chance we'll be able to do that more efficiently. So do we want to be accelerating or speed? Okay, it looks like we need to be a bit more towards speed. We'll keep him on the softs for the time being. At least get it up to level 2, so we can take advantage of that in the long run. Starting our new flying lap with Bukalova here. Dampness is about to go into overdrive in the last 3 minutes. We'll keep the softs up here. Gearing seems just right here. Nice one. That means there was something off with the fixes we gave. Setup knowledge for inters nowhere near level 1. Level 2. Definitely not going to get level 2 on the softs, I'm afraid. Guess we'll have to make do with that. Gear ratios are just right. Oh, it's the last minute. Downforce feels bang on. Nice job. At least get us to level 3 race trim. Come on. There's 30 seconds left. Nope, I don't think we're gonna get there. Oh wait, we're getting there. Oof, that was a close one. Very, very close there. Bulova still has a good chance to make a better time record here if she can push her car a bit further. I don't think that's going to be the case. The road is soaked. She can't push further with just inters. But she's loving the handling so far, so I think that's a good sign. Yeah. 119.763. Pretty good record all around for Bukalova there. Vosu goes down at 0.6 of a second behind. She's not, since she's a reserve. Let's hope we get more purples out of that practice. It's really dry so far, but looks of it. How's the weather? Wetness seems to be okay, at least for the amount of time we want to stay in soft tires. Fortunately, because the weather did not really, or because the weather affected the performance of the soft tires, they're stuck at level 1. Yep, seems decent. Switch out to softs for this, as is the case. These fuel tanks can go for 25 laps, which means we definitely need a refuel in the second pit change. All greens on Perez's car. I think. Oh wait. Almost made a mistake there. Got to switch to softs. Now we're good. Everybody else has gone for speed up front. Looks like they want to be away from the leaders as much as possible. Now we're starting the Beijing leg. Ooh, bad start for Amachi there. He's definitely not gonna like that. Wait, where's Clark Smith? What? What? Why is Clark Smith listed? Why was he listed as 20th? Well, anyway, that was a bit of a hiccup there from Amachi. She didn't start as soon as the lights went off, and that gives Perez a bit of time, or rather, Stromby a bit of time to jump ahead. I think we can our drivers a bit more. But no, let's hang back a bit. Since this is the longest race in the series, so going fast early is just gonna eat our fuel lines. Ooh, well, Sue snatches 19th. Well, Perez wasn't looking. Too much of a traffic jam. They can't really squeeze themselves in the leads. Now Silvera scores fastest lap, as 3 laps have as we still have 3 laps to go. Excellent first run there from Silvera. The tire temperature isn't exactly in a good spot right now, but we'll probably have to work with that for the time being. Now, Vosu and Perez still in the back. Engelhardt has somehow dropped to 18th, or 17th rather. 29 laps to go here. We might have to push them a bit further as we're going for a mid-change. Whoops, not on attack. That's Engelhardt now in 19th as Vosu gets ahead of him. Vosu is now in 18th, trying to get past Stromby, but Stromby manages to accelerate faster out of that corner. Up front, Clark Smith is now fighting with Koi for 4th place. A bit of a fight in the back as we start lap 4. Probably keep the tires a bit relaxed now. If we got 1 box of temperature over. Perez can't get past Engelhardt now. And Vosu is still stuck behind the Ozu drivers, who are excellent at driving in these narrow Beijing roads. Not much of a change up front either. 27 laps remaining. Engelhardt is now in the tail end. Still a bit of a parade here, as the drivers are still pretty much close to each other, but things might change in lap 6. Now Vosu is fighting with Perez for 18th, keeping Perez in the back here. Stromby's really blocking things up, and Perez is getting angry with his teammate, or her teammate rather. Up in the middle, Clark Smith now drops to 6th, and Rivadero moving up to 7th. Getting a little suspicious about that. Amachi goes up to 13th. Schober is at 11th. Silvera jumps to 9th, and Funker drops in. Weather is looking pretty dry so far, despite the fact that it's very cloudy. Starting to get really suspicious, really. Trying to push these guys a bit further. Switch them out. Just a tad. Ooh, no! Vosu is now down to 20th as Engelhardt gets ahead of him. Looks like Engelhardt is now done warming up. Really pushing it to the limit here as we start lap 7. A bit of change for our drivers. Definitely need some switching up. Definitely need to switch things up further. Perez drops to 19th as Engelhardt is now up in 18th. Strabi is up to 16th as well. Ozu looking pretty clean here and having a good chance to overtake our drivers. Unless we get some lucky breaks and somehow get past everybody. Well, Sue somehow jumps up to 17th. But Ozu Motorsport still has a chance to get first. Ooh, good jump from Vosu there on that chicane. He is now in 16th, looking at Davis. And now Vosu is at 10th, and Perez is at 14th, as a lot of drivers have checked in for a pit change after being a little too early with their tires. Perez is now down 30%. Vosu to 30. Vosu jumps up to 9th after that chicane. Getting one over Davis. Now Perez is behind Engelhardt still, but she is now in 14th. Might have to change her out early though, as she's now down 27. 22 laps to go. Starting lap 10 with a bit more improvement in the standings as Vosu is now 4th with just Lapiclua, Amachi, and Balkan ahead of him. Perez improved significantly as well thanks to that, and she is now in 9th. Looks like Balkan is asking for a pit change. We'll probably conserve the tires for at least one more lap, and then we'll send Perez out on a switch-up. Well, Vosu is still pretty decent up front. Probably would conserve the tires as well, just so he can stay longer. He is now 2nd, with Lapiclua being the only one ahead of him. Right, it's time to switch out Perez. Low chance of error there, so I'll take it. She's complaining about being behind Engelhardt for a couple laps now. Lapiclua still up front. Pretty decent range. 14 seconds ahead of our drivers here. But that could change in a couple if Lapiclua is switching out for a pit change. Yep, she's gone into the pit lane. Vosu now with a chance to switch out as well. And probably still keep him in the lane for a couple more laps. Bad mistake there. Looks like Perez is stuck in the back now. No thanks to that mistake. Let's hope she doesn't have any tires. Yep. At least she's still in the running, but let's hope she doesn't have any tire issue to worry about. Wow. Strambi manages to close in to 2 seconds ahead of Vosu. We might have to change his tires in the next run. He's starting to get slow. Should probably switch to safe. Perez is now in 19th because of that mistake. Not looking good for our driver. Engelhardt has switched out the pit lanes though. And now Perez is up to 18th because of that switch up. Definitely needs a lot of work still. Vosu, only 3 seconds ahead of Strambi. Definitely need to switch out quickly as he's pretty much running out of fuel and tires. Let's hope the tires are going to be enough temperature-wise for him. Good switch out for Vosu as he is exiting out of the pit lane. But can he? Nope, he cannot keep his spot. He is now back in 5th. Perez still at 18th and having trouble getting up of it. Oh, she's up to 17th thanks to the pit stop by Davis. Now Mazzoncini, Lapiclua, Reeves, and Rivadero are ahead of Vosu. Tire temperature still pretty decent for both of our drivers. Just a matter of whether or not they can endure and manage to stay up top while everybody else is being slow. 17 laps to go. Bossu still behind Mazzoncini. Mazzoncini seems to have some trouble keeping the tires okay pretty early because they are super softs, and he's pushing his cars a bit too much. Well, at the back, 16th place for Perez here, thanks to a couple of pit lane changes. Might see some rather surprising changes here towards the second half of the race. Well, Peclua still ahead. Rivadero has pushed her car a little too far, and she's already down to a quarter on her tires. Might see a pit change here early, as well as Funker getting a little too aggressive with driving. Weather seems to be dry for the rest of the run, at least. So if things continue as they are, we will only need one more pit lane change. Still no sign of a change up front, however, but by the looks of it, yep, Rivadero has now switched out her tires as well. Bossu is now up to 4th, closing in on Mazzoncini ever so slightly. And Perez is now in 14th, getting ahead. Schober fighting for that 13th spot, but Perez manages to get one over her. And now Mazzoncini is asking for an early pit. Not exactly a good sign for the Dragon driver. Perez is now at 13th. Just needs a bit more running. Time to relax them a bit. Vosu is now at 2nd. 3 seconds behind Peclua, however. Gonna play fuel lines a bit more safer here. Then we'll switch out some of the tires at the last leg. It's now lap 19th. Boissu has made a personal best, but he's still 3 seconds behind Peclua, and Perez has now jumped up to 9th thanks to some pit lane changes as well. Question is, can we just stay at this? Sorry. Kohi is already down on his tires and might switch out soon. 8 seconds behind Peclua. Peclua is already down to 40% on her tires as well as we start lap 20. 12 laps remaining. Question is, when do we switch out? Do we go for speed or endurance towards the end of this race? Remember, we pushed our fuel lines a little too much, so we will have some worries about spending extra time in the pit lane for a fuel change. And that's pretty much preventing us from getting any decent numbers in the pit crew switching. Now, ooh, Perez jumps one over Amachi and Chu, but that doesn't look like a good sign, because there's a good chance she might have to switch out. Okay. That's Peclua switching out as well. I think it's a good time to switch Vosu as well. Put him in new tires and give him fuel. Eight laps. That's 16 seconds. Not exactly a good sign for our team. Especially since we're going safe here. I think it's better than nothing. Perez will have to hold the fort for the time being. Oh, looks like Engelhardt is also switching out now. Well, let's hope we don't have any errors up front as we worry about the fuel condition. Ow, a mistake on the tires there! Now, Vosu is down to 3rd. Perez is now in 2nd. Here's hoping things will change once we switch things out here. Laps, that's 16. Okay, front wings also need a bit of a change. Perez, Vosu is now down to 8th. Unfortunately, not a good spot for our driver there. probably push him a bit more so that he can jump up ahead of anybody else who hasn't switched out. Just keep the tires at the same setup. Let's hope Perez manages to stay with it. Vossu is now 24 seconds behind Strambi. Strambi still in the pit lane. Ooh, not a good sign as Perez is now down. Vossu is up to 6th. We've got 9 laps to go and a lot of fighting to deal with. Let's hope we can at least get back to 3rd. Trying to push these cars to the limit. Perez is up to 16th. Yep, she is now ahead of Silveira for 15th place. Vossu up to 6th. 8 laps to go. Looks like Davis is having issues, and looks like Kohi is backing up for some reason. Fuel is now in excess. Excellent blocking from Kohi there, but maybe not for long as Vossu takes over him. In the slow chicane, right on the lower end of that S-turn. He's looking at Lalpeklua now, who's still pretty much in a good spot for a lead. Oof, not good. We're just about ready to approach. 7 laps to go, and we are now in 3rd. Looks like Rivadero and Funker had to go for a pit change at a very late time. Not exactly a good sign there. Still a lot of lead up to go. Reeves might have to switch up at the last second unless he wants to pretty much run on steel here. Yep, there goes Reeves. He is now out of the running. Coy is up at 3rd. Perez is now in 11th. Got 6 laps to go. Still pretty decent on tire wear and tire temperature for both of our drivers, but it's the fuel that I'm worried about. And now, there's a good chance we might have to relax it towards the end. With 5 laps remaining, still enough for a run there, and Perez is now in top 10 as Mazzoncini is forced to go to the pit lanes. Perez having a bit of a fight here with Lalpeklua for 1st. Can he keep it? Silveira jumps to fastest lap, 1 minute 21. Lalpeklua, excellent defense there. Perez is now in 9th as she gets past El Sadat. Amachi still ahead of her. So is Engelhardt. With 54% on the tires, 4.5 on the fuel. Would be a bit of a risk factor here. Kohi is forced to pit early for some reason. Perez is now in 7th. Amachi and Engelhardt still ahead of her. Strambi as well. So is Ramsey. Vossu still struggling to get ahead. Now Perez is up to 6th. Gotta push the tire a bit more. Not looking good. It's now down to 3 laps and we've only got a couple of liters of fuel remaining. Lalpeklua still blocking. Really tight. What in the world? Lalpeklua is going for a pit lane this late in the race. Not exactly a good sign. Looks like she's conceding the lead to Vossu here. It means we could probably let the fuel rest a bit for Vossu. Perez now drops to 7th. Amachi still blocking him, or blocking her, and Vossu is now 1st. 4 seconds ahead of ooh, that's not looking good. Strambi has parts problems, and his tires are also pretty bad on the run. Ten seconds behind is Ramsey. Perez is up to 6. Amachi still ahead of her. El Sadat climbing up in the ranks. Can Perez get ahead of Amachi at the last leg here? Only 1 lap to go. Can Vossu finally redeem himself after 2 consecutive races of rather rough riding? Perez still in the back. Not looking too hot on her end. Can she at least stay in 6th? Ooh, she's going up to 5th here thanks to that slow turn overtake, and by the looks of it, she might be able to at least get 4th in the last leg. Oh boy, it looks like Vossu's going to be happy about that. Not a bad result as well for Perez, going to 5th, just behind Engelhardt. Scoring excellently for the Watson Industries team. It looks like the team is going to be happy about that result here in Beijing. Very convincing lead from Vossu as well, getting 12 seconds ahead of Stromby. Unfortunately, that's because Stromby had some parts issues towards the end. But looks like our tactic of going for slow paid off. Could have gotten even better results for Perez there if we managed to stick to soft tires, but because of the weather in practice, kind of got left behind. Well, nothing doing on that part. Still, we managed to get a good result, and I'm very happy about that. See what the GMA scrutineering team had to say. Surprisingly, Rivadero doesn't have any illegal parts now. Silveira actually got the best lap of the race, but she is well behind at 17th. Not exactly looking too happy about that. Octane Racing still struggling, even in this season. And we've got both first and the sponsor objective, and I think the chairman is going to be really happy about that. Numbers for team results, we're now 18 points ahead of Strambi, 27 points ahead of Amachi, and 33 points ahead of Perez. Perez with a drop there, actually. We regained some points, that's 10 points extra ahead of Ozu. She down the champagne. Let's see how it goes over on the race results, though. The news. The heck? Her driver morale dropped 2%. Dang it. Oh, at least the relationship is still okay. Chairman's pretty happy. The marketability dropped down to 90 for some reason. 1 million on that income. Very happy about that result. Now, if we can actually get better pit crews, we will have the absolute best team on the grid. Well, not that that's going to be enough, especially since parts are going to be a problem. Car condition drop 36 and 37. Ugh, not exactly a happy look at that. Oh, what do you need? Well, she's an interesting end driver, so I think we may look into her one day. Okay, 4 pit stops, just 7/10 of a second for our fastest pit stop today. We had 2 mistakes. Toyota! This is like the second time. Come on, man. Should be doing better than this. Good stamina, pretty decent. Good stats, mostly, but not too good with the jacks. He costs 11,000 per race, so that's a bit of a problem. Okay, let's save that up and set up for the next run. That new front wing really helped him, to be honest. Not just the tires, of course. Main issue will be the next main issue will be Rio, because it's going to be an ultra soft run. We're going for endurance, and we'll use ultra softs towards the end. So, many more? How many more? Excuse me. I still cannot build the road car factory because it costs 65 and we're only at 37. So I can do that. Repair's done. No work in the factory for new parts though. Oh, sponsor? Transantarctic is back with us. Marketability is down though because Perez and Bossu dropped. Ah, because their marketability points went down. Right. Those were temporary. The sponsor appeal's decent, so that's going to be helpful. And these guys are going to be helpful for the next season as well, since they're going to be longer. If we can increase the marketability of Perez and Bossu again, we'll get more 5-star sponsors, and that's going to help us get better. That's going to help us through the next set of runs of server problems. But yeah, let's go. We need better servers. Don't worry about the costs. I know friends in certain places that'll help us make a bit of savings. Oh, what's this? Oh, it's Arte Mikhailovich from Pamplona. Pamplona is a endurance driving team. Probably one of the best. Sydney. I don't think I've raced in Sydney before. I have not touched the World Sport Championship level yet. Mostly because I am not confident with my managing skills, so I don't know how it works. That's Kuivalainen back in the pit. Mustard and Makarova getting up there. That makes the gap behind Naito smaller, but I don't think that's going to be enough. Unless Naito doesn't score anything in the next two races, rather. 66. No. Wait. Yeah, if Naito does not score any points in the next two races, there's a chance that Husted could get 1 point ahead of Naito. That is pretty much wishful thinking. I need better people in the back base. Okay. Currently first. Rio is going to be a 23 lap race, so it's going to be one stop, which means we definitely need to stay with E. Improve the performance of the slower tire, which is super soft. It's going to be rain though, so that's going to be a problem. Headquarters is okay. Yeah, we will invest on them. Don't worry. I just need the money first. Alright, now here we're in Rio. Unfortunately, it looks like I'll have some troubles running around. Okay, so our assistant says we have a pretty decent car for Rio, but the news reporters are saying it's going to struggle. And one of the factory insiders is also coming up with that. And we still changed the pit crew. Tires seem to be decent on this side, but J-Lo. J-Lo? What? What's Jennifer Lopez doing here? Umezu maybe? Yamesaka? Go with Umisaka again. Otomo! Azizi should be here in the back, but Umezu could go for a jack. And who else can I go for? Wakisaka is better in front jack. Toyoda could probably switch out with. See, the fueling is going to be an issue. Let's hope this works. Oh, wait. I don't want to manage it again. I feel like I'm not even auto-managing the dang thing. Excuse me. Dang it. Alright, Majo-san. Let's see if we can get there. We get 82,000 even if we lose. But we can get even better. If we can get second or best. With Transantarctic, we got 1.4 million. I think we'll go with that. Okay, parts fitting seems to be okay. Let's roll it. Remember, we're going for slow, and after that slow, we'll go for fast in the last run. We need the tires to last long enough that we don't need to worry about extra stuff towards the second half of the race. The weather is the issue. It's gonna be wet for a couple. I think we'll have to stick to inters. It's not that wet as far as the weather is concerned, so I really think we can just stick to if we can go for super softs. Some steer, bit of downforce. And switch to supers. Hopefully we won't have to worry about the weather that much that we need to speed up. See if we can actually roll it with just the super softs. We're the only ones with super softs right now. Everybody's at inters. But I think the weather is going to be dry enough that I don't need to worry about super softs. It looks like somebody switched out to ultra softs even. Oh, that's Griffin and Clark Smith. Switch them up. Keep the the wheels at neutral. Those numbers. The rain's back. Not too much to worry about though. It's well within manageable parameters. As long as it doesn't rain on the actual race. Oh, running longer ratios. Got you. Hang on. Let's just go for the next run. Keep it steady for a couple of stints and then we'll switch out Bokolova's gearing. Just going up to level 1 race trim. If we've only got 8.5 minutes left in practice, I'm so not confident about that. Okay, more angles on the wings. Sending Bukalova in. Why are we all the way out on the back? Handling is very poor. Mistake there. So even longer. on the bit more understeer then. Angled on the wings. Send him in now. 7.5 minutes, not a lot to work with. Let's hope it's just going to be one stop, and then we'll go ahead and drive. Handling feels too soft at the moment. So yeah, a bit more understeer, yes. Speed balance is great, but the handling needs to be a bit rougher. And a bit more on the wings, too. Less tire pressure. That should be a good enough run for now. Let's see if Bukalova has any more complaints. Probably need to work on that acceleration, though. Oh, come on! Screw it, then. Rio is very, very finicky, so I don't want to I don't want to waste time with 2 pit stops as much as possible. The heck? What is that? So they want more speed, more downforce, stiffer suspension. Let's go with that. So sit. Let's go. Still rainy. That's a bit of concern. At least it still seems to be the same amount of water, so it's extra done. Well, bit of suspension stiffness, that should do it. Yeah, somewhere that line. Switch over to softs. I want durable softs. Get more speed. Maximum understeer. 94%. I don't like that. Wait, hang on. We can increase. No. Slight increase in downforce. Keep the speed balance as is. Switch over to softs. Super softs, rather. Let's go to practice. Here's hoping we get it right the first time. I really should switch to a more dynamic camera mode so we can see the action on the ground. Just don't know if that's going to aid the graphics card a bit more. I wonder if they can set it from here. Too much angle on the wing. Okay, that's something to worry about. Let's just keep the stints rolling for a couple of stages, and then we'll switch things around once we're done with that. Too much aero. Yeah, there's too many straights. We need to adjust the arrows a bit. Wasu behind him, half a second, in fact. That's a lifetime in races like this, even at the lowest levels. I think I can bring Bukalova in. Handling's superb, it's just a downforce that needs to be worked on. More stability. Too much handling for Wasu, not enough, or too much arrows for Bukalova. Okay, so soften up the handling a bit. A bit more speed. Too much acceleration, not enough speed. Suspension support. There you go. Maybe this would work something out. And we'll bring Wasu in now. Dampness is not enough to worry about, that we need to switch to an inter or soft, or rather an inter or wet setup. I think we're good. Switching things up. Okay, his downforce is a little too much. Speed is poor. Acceleration could definitely need some pushing. So softer handling, probably around this spot. A bit more on gear ratios. Adjustment. Yeah, somewhere around here might be. 20 seconds to fix things. Let's hope we can get something out of that. 6 minutes left, and we're still working towards race trim level 2. Not a good sign. Let's be thankful that the dampness isn't enough to be of a worry. Feeling the aero feeling nicer. That's a good thing, but probably needs a little more work. That's much better. 1 minute 22. But her best is still 1 minute 18. Arrow setup is way better. Nice. Okay, that's a good sign. Okay, looks like our setup knowledge for our super softs is also pretty decent right now. We just need to work up the numbers for race trim, and things will be much better for our drivers then. We've only got 3 minutes left. Not exactly a lot to work with, but it's much better than nothing. Handling isn't working as well right now. Dang it! He said he wanted softer handling, and now he's complaining that it's not working as good as he wanted it to. We only got 2 minutes. We need to get into the pit lanes now. Okay, it's just the handling that needs to be fixed. Downforce and speed balance, great. I guess it has to be a bit more balanced. Towards 50-50 maybe. Extra pressure on the tires. Yes, let's go with this. I think this will be okay. Now get out there. We got a minute left. Maybe there's still enough time for a practice run. Come on. Minute left. Can we get that race trim up at least? 30 seconds. Still enough time for... Oh, come on. That was the last lap for Bukalova. On Vosu. Okay. Race trim is up. Amachi is now ahead of him on the timesheets. Dang it. Couldn't get enough on everything else. Handling is still poor? What? Oh, come on. That does not bode well for us. If I can't get the right, setup there. Oof. DRJ getting some shooters out there. So then, yep, the action still has not started rather. It's raining! How's the weather looking in the near future? Heavy. It's gonna be a bit damp. A bit more understeer. Now let's go with this, see if he's complaining. Fuel is still saying 19 laps. Remember, it's 23 laps, so we can keep him keep him in the middle for as long as possible. He's complaining about handling. This one says the handling is 94. Now, Bukalova says her handling was a little too soft, so we gave her some extra understeer. Now, for some reason, Vosu was complaining that he needed a bit more stability on the straights, so he wanted a softer road. I guess if we can go here, maybe? Alright, we'll go with this. He's not gonna have anything there. Work with that. Driver strategy will be the same. Here's hoping things will give us some bonuses towards the end. I got my fingers crossed. Let's hope we'll find some time to switch over to straights in fast runners here. Ah! The acceleration was awful. Perez, though, seems to be working with it, and she is now up to 14th. While Sue, meanwhile, will have to contend with the fact that he had a lot of trouble with fixing things, and he's now in the back. Remember, durability will be a factor here. As long as the weather says that things are going to be wet, we'll have to stay up on the roads here. But we might have to push things up around the 6th lap. Well, Sue is now 19th. Perez is at 17th. Amachi in the middle. That's Strambi. He's climbing up to 16th here. Mazoncini and Alpeclua up on front, trying to fight each other. And now Perez trying to come up to 15th again, with Davis now getting left behind. Reeves ahead of her as we enter lap 3. Things are starting to look even worse as the weather is going to be really rainy. And tire wear could be a factor. Perez almost got through. Now she's at 13, get ahead of Reeves. Schober ahead of her. Zanzini and Laclua still fighting, but looks like Rivadero is trying to get a piece of that pie. Griffin down to 4th, Clarksmith down to 5th, Balkan and Silvera up in 6th and 7th respectively, while Sue still having trouble getting back into the fight here as we start lap 4 with a bit of a rough patch for both of our drivers. Things might start to get really wet in the near future. We might have to switch out soon. Probably go into power up on the drive as well. Tire temperatures aren't looking too hot. Perez is still at 15th. Almost dropped to 16th there. Meanwhile, Amachi is now climbing in the ranks. She's at 13th. Perez trying to get close as well. Now it's a fight to see who's going to stay there. Things are starting to get really wet up on the front lines. We might have to switch around lap 10. Thankfully, tire wear and tire temperature don't seem to be a problem, but Bosu is definitely struggling in the back. Well, Perez is getting left behind, with Engelhardt now getting in front of her, and Ramsey blocking her back. Perez going in for a straight. She is now in 15th again, getting past Ramsey and Engelhardt. Now she is within striking distance of Amachi again. Can she finally get up on the ranks there? No, she cannot. She's back down to 14th. No. I think we want to. Let's stick to inters for the time being. I think it's going to switch out around the next one. 17 laps to go. Everybody else still rolling. Bosu still behind. Perez still at 15th. Oh, Davis is now in 20th for some reason. Now Ramsey gets ahead of Perez, and she's back in 16th. Amachi is now at 12th. Strambi still at 18th for some reason. Bosu is now neck and neck with Strambi. Perez down to 16th thanks to that overtake by Schober. She can't get through. Tires are now down to 57 and 51 respectively. We might have to switch things around lap 11 at this rate. Oops, somebody went for a pit. What's that? Schober went for a pit early. Looks like she's going for wets here. But everybody else is on inters. Yep, she went for wets. Perez is now trying to get into 14th again, but Ramsey and Clark Smith did a lot of work to keep her away. Bosu is still at 16th, but he's getting even closer to his teammate. Trying to conserve the tires a bit. Ooh, that's a bad overtake. She is now down to 16th, getting left behind by the rest there. But Ramsey gets caught up between the two Watson drivers, and he is now down to 16th as we start lap 9. Can we keep our drivers at least up to lap 12 so we can switch over to some faster tires? We'll have to see. Now Bosu is at 13th, Perez at 14th. El Sadat almost got past Balkan, who is now behind Kohi. Amachi is up to 7th. 6th is Lopeclua. Chu gets ahead of Lopeclua and up to 5th, and up to front is Silvera and Rivadero. Bosu having trouble getting past El Sadat. Some really rough fighting over there for 13th spot. Now Perez gets ahead of Bosu. 14 laps to go. Are we still not switching? Maybe not. Let's see if we can keep our drivers at least till things can be decent enough for slicks. Looks like everybody else is going for a switch here. Ow. Bit of a bump on that approach. Looks like El Sadat definitely doesn't want both of our drivers to get spots here. Now 13 laps to go. Ideally, we should have switched to slicks by now, but And the road's still really soaked up to the nines. And now Vosu is behind El Sadat, with Perez jumping up to 12th. Balkan still ahead of her. Tires are about to switch here. 12 laps to go. Everybody else still seems to be rolling, however. We might have to change in here sooner or later. It looks like Perez is now down to 26. A little more. Just keep it for a little more, and I think we're good. Everybody else has still kept their inters. Just a couple more laps, and then we can switch around. Perez almost got one over Balkan, but Balkan closed that out for the last second. Meanwhile, El Sadat is sneaking a pit lane, or an overtake there. Couldn't get it to go on the straights. Everybody has complaints on that part. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Alright, let's go for super softs and a refueling tank up. Parts conditions, anything else I can work with? Okay. 13 seconds. Yeah, let's go for 13. Then we'll put Vosu up afterwards. Perez is now at 8th, but I don't think she's going to keep it for long. Vosu is at 10th. Might switch out to 9th or 8th once Perez goes for a pit change. Perez is slowing down, but we're seeing others doing the same. Ooh, good switch there for Vosu, but he can't keep it up. He's still at 10th now. Almost got it to 8th because of the switch up. 10 laps to go. Tires are still wet. Road's still a bit rough. Vosu is now up to 4th. We got Balkan ahead of him. Can't tell what the other drivers are switching up to. Are we... Yep, we're the only ones who are currently in soft condition, soft tires right now. Vosu is now in 3rd. Lalpiclua and Amachi, the only ones up ahead. Perez has dropped to 13th, as things don't look to be having a fun time for both of our drivers, but we might have to switch out here. Amachi is still rolling. Lalpiclua is asking for a pit change, so yeah, let's go for a switch as well. I think I'll go for an ultra. Strategy safe. Alright, let's go. Perez unfortunately drops to 13th, as the slicks are still not exactly good, but I'm not putting her out there for a bit more. Let's just keep it a bit conservative for the time being. Alright, keep it a bit more relaxed on the front. Vosu is now at 12th. Perez is at 15th. I think we still have a good chance to stay in the fight here as long as we pit at the right time. Or rather, since we're not pitting anymore, we'll try as much as possible to stay in the running. 8 laps to go. Now we'll push up here, as the roads are starting to dry up, and we're seeing some changes to ultras up front. Vosu is at 14th, and he's got a lot of fight to deal with, as everybody else ahead of him has also switched out to ultras, but there's probably a lot of change up front. Oh, Amachi's at 6th, and she is already at softs at there. Vosu drops to 15th. 7 laps to go. Time to make those tires work. Let's see if we can actually get something out of this. Vosu coming up to 14th, but he gets overtaken by the 2 Lucatelli drivers. And the weather really didn't help us much here. How many more? Do we still have a lot to work for? 6 laps to go. And we're all in the back here. By the looks of it, the guys with the injuries seem to have stayed up front for a bit, but I wonder if they're going to switch out at the last second, as the tires are about to, or the road's about to get real dry. Perez still having trouble in the back, unable to break through. While Sue might be the only one with a chance to go here. Silveira is now best rider again. We've only got 5 laps to go. No sign of a change up front for the Inter drivers by the looks of it. Looks like they had something in mind. Still damp for the last 4 laps of the race. Engelhardt and Schober have switched out tires early. Bossou now jumping up to 12th. He could probably get a chance to put up to top 10 at least. But he needs to get past Balkan. Balkan in the Ultras. 4 laps to go. Davis is still sneaking behind. Ooh, oh, whoa, what the heck was that? A bit of a bump there in the back there. Bossou gets propelled to 5th, but there was a bit of contact. I don't know if there's going to be any complaints about that from the race director. Bossou drops down to 6th. He's getting left behind. Tires are starting to get real hot. Three laps to go. Can we at least get to top 3? Doesn't look like it. Oof, Stromby dropped there pretty badly. Hamachi might be able to get one over her teammate. Can Vosu at least get through this one? Tire temperature is now very hot. 2 laps to go. 44% left on the tires for Vosu, 54 Perez. Still enough fuel for for the last 2 races at least, but Vosu really needs to work his way up if he wants to get better points. Perez now up to 8th, getting ahead of Chu. Never mind, Chu gets ahead of her again. Even Lalpeclua. He's having a hard time getting boxed in by the others in the other mid markers. Final lap, might need to push it further. If and 2 laps behind Davis. Looks like Silveira and Amachi are gonna win this one. Fortunately, we'll have to concede everything from here. Oh, Vosu gets one over Davis, but that's not going to be enough to get her and get him in the top 3. No podiums for both of our drivers today. Looks like the wetness was a bit of an issue. We should have focused on getting that. That sucked. That sucked indeed. At least we're still in a decent running. Though, Stromby's points here really did a number for Ozu. And they're still pretty much in the running for that one. Can probably squeeze in the final race of the season, actually. Let's see if we can actually do that. Yeah, the problem is we switched out a little too early before the tires, or before the road was dry enough for our slicks to actually take advantage of the tire conditions. But at least we still managed to stay pretty high up. Ooh, speaking of staying pretty high up, that's Reeves. Looks like she had some parts violations, and she is down at 10th. Still use a little more work here. But yeah, Amachi and Strambi now switch places with Amachi back in 2nd. Perez is still at 4th, still with 37 points behind her teammate. The gap might have dropped down a bit, but it's still 18 points behind. There's a good chance if we win at least, or at least get one of our drivers up, we can definitely win the season and be promoted. This is actually our best ERS season so far. Couple of wins, couple of podiums too. And we definitely need some more work once we get once we get promoted. The morale drop, relationship change as well. Well, we came third, and the chairman will be happy about that. Even with the failure to get the sponsor objective, we still get some money in here. Now we're going into the worst part of the race, the last race of the season. It's going to be a bit rough because Vancouver also is also focused on speed. 40% average parts condition drop for Vatsu, 38 for Perez. At least it's just 12 hours this time. Oh, really? It was a really good support from the rear here. Looks like whatever happens here, we have the Drivers' Championship. Oh my god, this is the first time I've seen that. Okay, 7 seconds behind. It's the fuel that was the issue. The tires, not too much. We could have done better with refueling. Car repairs are complete. Alright. Now, let's make sure we can actually sponsor offer. Nippon or Golden Tiger? Golden Tiger doesn't have any because of marketing. Okay, let's go with Nihon. Marketability is now down to 80%, unfortunately. That's not a good sign. Mostly because of the performance level. At the very least, our other long-term sponsors, the ones that provide fixed payment, are still going to be with us for quite a while, so that's going to help. But we really need to get our marketability back up, or we're done for. Okay, the next issue now is whether or not we can actually get that done properly. We've only got one more race. After that, I might have to withhold the preparations for next season to a different time. Oof. Ooh, Husted. Definitely looking at it, looks like he has a chance to get one over Naito here if he wins the next race. So that's pretty much decided. Now it's the next race. No need to build anything. Our lead design. Oh no, they're complaining about the lead designer again. It's 28 laps, so that's going to be a two-stop, maybe. Unless we can maintain endurance. In that case, we'll just go with slower tires for longer race runs. It's going to be 14 and 20. Yeah, if we can go for if we can keep our drivers to 14 and 15, we can go for one race, or rather one stop for this race. But that's going to be risky. So if we have to switch to two races, it's going to be 10-20. Really? Is there still a chance for her to get some points? Nah, there is no way. Even if she gets 20 points here. Even if she does get the required 23 points. No. She needs to get, no, even if she gets the 22 points needed to get ahead of us, she won't be able to actually knock, Bosu out of the box, so pretty confident on that. 5 podiums and 5 wins for this season. I think that's better than the 2024 season where you got 6 podiums. pretty much rolling it over there. Now, who do you want to go with? You go for El Banco, but I think Trans-Antarctic would be nice. Right. Moment of truth. Let's see if we can actually keep our get our team championship rather. Cards seem to be okay so far. Right, here we go. Vancouver. Still don't get why it's Dutch tilted like this. My neck hurts looking at it. Problem is, parts are spec. So it's a case of whether we want decent acceleration or good speed. Weather's a bit damp, but I think we can handle it decently. Just stick to super sauce for now. I guess we're gonna need some downforce, maybe? Less downforce by the looks of it. Bit acceleration, no, top speed. Some understeer. Tires, yeah, tire choice is good at soft. Ah, that's a problem. We can't really do one stop if Vosu is only saying 12 to 14, so okay, but we need more downforce. A bit more. A bit on speed. Some understeer. Strength supers. Okay, let's go for this one. Let's hope it works. Looks like everybody else isn't as worried with the weather as we are. They've also got softs and ultras on the super softs and ultras on the rolling. Well, forget that. Chu and Shover have switched out to inters. A lot of the others have also switched out to inters. Alright, let's let them do one stint and then switch them out to inters. Or maybe not. Nah, I don't think I'm gonna have to worry about that. Looks like it's gonna be dry afterwards. Let's just stick to softs. Aero setup feels fantastic. I don't think that's enough of a feedback. 9.5 minutes and the setup knowledge is still pretty low on both of our drivers. Not a good sign. Oh, Bosu scores fastest lap though. 1 minute 19. Silveira gets one over Bukalova, however. Could be a premonition in the... Oh! Ooh, that's everybody getting ahead of our team, mostly because of the change in the weather. Let's ignore that and focus on seeing the feedback in the parts. Okay, not offering me enough. A bit more understeer, maybe? Okay, let's send Bukalova out and back in, while Vosu does most of the handling. Really happy with the gear ratios, excellent. We're all the way in the back, that's annoying. Ah, a lot of work on this one. So does she want more suspension, more understeer, I think? So probably a bit more. And a bit more focus on top speed. Maybe not that much on handling, or rather angling. Okay, a little more on top speed. So that's 75%. I think we're good enough for that. Keep her in super softs. Vosu will have to roll it here. Gonna be his in lap. We still got 6 minutes to go, and the race trim is still nowhere near level 2. So we need to work this out right quick. The heck? It's suddenly raining again. It's gonna be a bit wetter, so we'll have to go for inters then. So a little less downforce. A bit more towards top speed. Some semblance of handling, maybe? No. A bit more understeer. Tire will be inter. Let's see if that's going to be positive, a net positive for the next run. Okay, race trim is now level 2, but we've only got 4 minutes left. We need to get the race trim back up. Probably have to switch Bukalova out to inters now. Vosu is handling everything else on his own up front. Sucks that we're all the way back here. Okay, speed balance still needs some work. Yeah, definitely a bit less, a bit higher on downforce. So a bit more balance towards acceleration. And switch out to inters for the time being. Here's hoping. We'll stick. Oh, come on, man! Seriously? We'll just have to mix the setups then. Hopefully this will work. 1 minute we have left. Oh no. Got 2 minutes left. I don't think I can switch boss. Nice job on the handling, but the acceleration was awful. At least the race trim might reach level 3 before the race is over, or the practice run is over, rather. Speed balance feels much better now, guys. Right, knowledge unlocked. Race trim level 3. Unfortunately, the tires aren't exactly doing as hot. Yeah, speed balance definitely needs some work. I'll have to switch that back up. Excuse me. And there we go. Vosu is stuck at 6. Looks like Silvera and Elsa Dot will be having a lot of fun with the numbers. Bukalova's up in the back. All the way up in the back, really. Gonna need a lot of work so I can get Vosu up, at least. We'll have to, Dude, just one bad practice day and you're talking like this? Definitely a tourist, as the kids would call him. Alright, we'll have to adjust the car a bit. It's gonna be dry, so I think we can go with softs, although the performance won't exactly do much for us. Race trim and super softs, yes. Race trim and super softs. Wow, downforce actually got worse. Okay, but the handling is excellent, so just the handling too. Henley is 81. Wait. It's downforce that needs work. $16.5, 26.3. Slight adjustment to bit more acceleration focus. Switch suspension. Reduce that. Okay, that should be good enough. We'll have to make do with that. And then we'll go for super softs and keep the tires up that way. No change here, just keeping her in super softs as well. And at 12 laps, ugh. Gonna need 2 changes. Here's hoping nothing bad happens. At least keep us within the team championship. And there go our drivers. Ooh, good acceleration from Vosu. Just couldn't get past Strambi on the back lane. And whoa, what the heck happened? Griffin ran wide on the opening corner. Really bad start for the young American. Where is he? Guess he locked up at the last there, and now he's pushing his car to the limit just to get back with the rest of the pack. Perez, out of nowhere, jumped into 16th because of that slow corner, but I don't think she can keep her position up. With Silvera blocking her on the long left. And now here we are at the start of lap 2. Amachi is now 19th, but looks like she didn't like that, and she is back in 18th, putting Vosu back in his place. Tire wear is decent still, but the tire temperatures are not exactly looking up. Can't get past Strambi, unfortunately. And Vosu is struggling against Amachi. Ooh, looks like the Ozu drivers are having their time, or having a good time up here. Now it's the start of lap 3, and both of our drivers are in the back. Ozu still pushing ahead of him, even though it looks like there's no chance they'll get hit at the championship. Now Griffin is making his way up, trying to get back ahead of the teams. Might be a good time to push our drivers a bit more. 25 laps to go. Up on front, Mazzoncini and Clark Smith still rolling. Tire wear, tire temperature is starting to be a problem, so we'll have to push these guys a bit more. We need them to at least last at least up to lap 12, so we can switch them up at a later date. Excuse me. Oh, that's Vosu dropping up now, trying to get past Amachi. Starting lap 5 with a little bit of a lead, but I don't think he's going to keep it. Yeah, Griffin now blocking both of them, while Amachi is up to 16th. Really bad spot there. While everybody else is at ultras and trying to be as fast as possible. Oh. Can we at least get ahead there? Ooh, good overtake on a slow run there. Getting Vosu up to 17th just before the start-end line. Too bad he can't keep it. Griffin gets ahead of him again. Now it's Amachi and Griffin for 17th, while Vosu is just waiting in the wings to see if he can overtake them both. Perez keeping Strambi in the back. Oof, Vosu is back to 18th, but he's going for 17th on that slow turn. Too bad he can't keep it to go. Now both of our drivers are in the middle again as we start the next lap. Strambi makes a breakthrough, and he is now in 19th. Make that 18th. But Vosu is having none of that, is keeping Strambi away. A 42 and 51% left on the tires. Uh-oh, Reeves is out of the running. not a good end for the Zampelli driver here. She's pretty much ending her season with a wrecked car. She's definitely not happy. That's Bosu almost getting another overtake against Amachi, but now he can't keep up with him. With Engelhardt now at 16th, Amachi climbing up to 15th just before the start-end line. It looks like we've seen some of the Ultrasofts pitting in now. Then there goes Perez jumping up 14th. Wheel to wheel between the teammates here. Looks like Griffin is trying to play safe for some reason as he's going for a pit change after pushing himself a little too much. Too early for a pit lane change, dude. Well, Beklua is now ahead of Schober on the line, and Perez is down to 11th as Bosu climbs up to 8th. Still a bit of a fight up front as Perez is trying to keep Engelhardt away from her. Bosu is still behind Amachi, 2 seconds in fact. And it's almost it's lap 10. Could be a good time to switch spots here. So I think we could still keep Perez in the rolling for another lap or two. Weather doesn't seem to be changing, at least for another lap or so. We might have to switch lines for a bit. Excuse me. No change to the fuel. No parts to fix. Make it safe. Let's see if we have any problems there. Yep, we're seeing a bit of tire wear now with Bosu as well. We're seeing pit lane changes for the leaders. Now it's Silveira ahead with Davis just behind her. But things could change here in a couple of seconds. Perez now down to 15th after that pit change. Make that 14th as she gets out of Schober, but she's still behind Chu. Up front, Amachi is still rolling with her 37%. Wonder if we can at least get another podium here before the season is over. $17 laps to go. Fuel is now starting to be a problem. Might have to be a bit conservative there in the back. Amachi still at 3rd. Bosu is now down to 4th, or 5th rather. Looks like we might have to switch tires as well. No change in the fuel. I don't think we need to fix any parts up front as well. Strami getting ahead of him isn't exactly on the cards. Gonna take a while for us to get here. And yep. Ooh, got ahead of his opponent there, and his teammate as Bosu is out 13th. No, never mind, that's 14th. Perez getting ahead of him again. Even as we try to be conservative with the tires here. Uh-oh, Funker has crashed on that S-curve. Not exactly a good way to end the season as well. Looks like that's gonna be it for Funker here. Just as bad of a damage as Reeves. Reeves not injured by that at least. Funker definitely not loving the situation. Meanwhile, our drivers are struggling to get back into the top 10 after that pit lane. With Mazzoncini and Kohi taking advantage of Amachi and Davis switching out. Now both of our drivers are climbed a bit. But Strambi is not having any of that as he gets ahead of Wosu again. Sorry about that. 14 laps to go. Perez almost... crap, we gotta push these tires a bit. For Perez, at least. She's now at 11th. Vosu gets overtaken by Amachi. Perez is now at 10th. Let's see if she can keep it up, as her tire condition is pretty much rolling. Could use a bit more on the tires there as we start the lap 16th. Vosu still at 15th. Perez at 10th. Can't get past Schober, who's keeping their left-hand corner under tab. Definitely gonna need some more extra fuel in the near future. 12 laps to go. Ooh, dang, couldn't take advantage of that. Davis slickly doing a brake overtake on that slow corner. Now Perez is down to 11th. Vosu still at 15th here. Gonna have to push our drivers a bit, just so they can... Oh boy, Strami getting ahead even though he's in pullback mode. 11 laps to go. We got half that for fuel. Let's pray we can actually get enough space so we can pit in. Oh no. Vosu's having trouble getting past Amachi. We still got 44% and 43% on tires for Perez, so I think we can probably pit her for a bit more after this. 10 laps remaining. Still enough time to jump in. And now she is at 7th. We'll make that 8th. Looks like Stromby doesn't want to get anybody out of that. Vosu is at 11th, but he's definitely in the mood for something else. Perez is now down to 9th. Having a bit of a fight with Amachi here. The Ozu drivers are making sure we can't get a better finish towards the end. 9 laps to go. Perez is now down to 32. Vosu is at 52. He's now at 6th. Up front, Rivadera and Chu fighting for 1st. Perez gets taken down by Davis. She is now in 4th. Fuel is starting to be an issue. We might have to switch her out in a couple. Probably have to let her run for at least one more lap, and then we'll put her in a different set of tires. Uh-oh. That's Rivadero and Davis up ahead now. Vosu is up to 5th. Perez is at 3rd. Can't get past Davis, however. She's now down to 20% on her tires. We might have to switch things out for her now. Yeah, definitely have to switch out things for her. 14 seconds, seriously? Go for safe. Oof, she's now at 2nd, but I don't think that's going to be enough. Looks like we need to push tires as well. Vosu is now down to 35%, but his tire temperatures are awful. Perez now suffering from speed issues as she is down to 12%, and she is also low on fuel. Vosu now grabs 3rd. Now he is at 1st. Looks like we might have to switch him out a bit. Put him in the next run. 6. This is gonna risky. 13 seconds. I don't think I can fix... Oh, wait. I can fix the front wing. So let's give Vosu a bit of a relax up here. Wait, hang on. No, he needs to fuel, so he needs to switch out soon. Perez has gone down to 16th. Bosu is only 6 seconds ahead of Mazzanzini. That's not enough time to pit out. I don't think he'll hold on to this one. Ooh, out of fuel at the last second. But that's not going to be helpful as we have 5 laps to go. And he's taking a while to refuel and repair. He's now down to 12. Can we get back into it? I don't think so. Yeah, we had a mistake on the last run. Time to push up and see if we can actually get back into the top 10 at least. Because we were looking at Ramsey and it looks like he's going to be pitting out just before the start of lap 4. Oof, a bit of a risky running here. Perez couldn't get past El Sadat. Bit of a wheel-to-wheel fight for 10th as El Sadat is trying as much as possible to keep Perez out of the running. Silveira is up ahead, 3 laps to go. If they can't get their numbers up, Perez will have to settle for a 5th spot finish. Ooh! Who the heck was that? Davis ran wide on the opening corner this late in the game. That's not a good spot. Very bad time to run around there. Time to push our drivers a bit more. Now it's 2 laps to go. Probably go for overtake. Probably. It's going to be risky, and we could lose our fuel. But with only 2 laps to go, it's much more likely that we will have some... it's much better if we can actually get some points up more. Especially for Perez, who needs to be a top 4 at least. Good defending from El Sadat there in the final lap. Gonna be a bit of a fight to see if we can at least break in the top 10 for both of our drivers. Oh, Perez really having it tough with El Sadat. That's Perez at 9th, Bosu at 10th. Yeah, unfortunately, Mazzanzini will score the final pole win of the season, but that's not going to be enough to dislodge both of our drivers here. Despite the fact that, yes, Dragon Race team managed to get 1 podium finish here, it's more of a consolation prize as they're still at the bottom of the table. And despite the fact that our drivers finished mid-pack, our slot as the driver and team champions are now assured. Let's see those parts scrutineering though. Ooh, that's not good. Ramsey got demoted 6 places because of a couple of parts. And he is even below both of the crash drivers. Must have heard for that one. Not much of a change up front, though. 219 points. Excellent blocking from Bosu, keeping Amachi out of his league. While Watson Industries also got a good jump up there. Good finish for Mazzanzini, however. I guess Dragon Race team will at least be happy that they've snatched the last cup of the season. But there's still a lot of work to do for the next one. New trait? Oh, okay. Not much in market ability, though. Morale dropped, but there's a bit of, yeah. The market ability jumped up to 6.63, probably thanks to Wasu, but we didn't finish at 4th. Kind of sucks. He's gonna be racing champion for at least the next season, or he'll have that bonus for the next season. Still got $214 out of that, so I think we're okay. Ooh! Yep. He waited and waited, struggled for most of the season, and just at the last moment, he did it. Huston manages to dislodge Naito at the last race, scoring the crucial 1 point needed to finally get the Drivers' Championship. Naito, meanwhile, is languishing at the bottom of the final Dubai race, 20th. Definitely not going to be happy with that result. It's a 1-2 for Scuderia Rossini, who finally got the revenge from the Japanese outfit that threw him off the top last season, while Kitana Sports Sonikov is just happy to be there at third, but that's not much to give him a jump up as he finishes the season on ninth. Meanwhile, in the Asia Pacific Super Cup, Blaise Roiba scores a very crucial win for Boa Esperanza. But that's not enough to get them up on top in Tondela. Meanwhile, the Kirov teammates Tunison and Charles Henry Edson managed to close up the podium, but Rezato Corses Barreda is still on top. Tunison not getting enough points to get back in the running for that one. A rare sight of Dragon Race Team on top here. But we did manage to get We got a world championship, 219 points, 4 wins, 5 podiums, no DNFs this season. Excellent driving from Vosu there. He's definitely happy. And we also get the team championship. Excellent work from the rollers there. And I think with that in the way, we could probably call it in for the day. But first, let's see what's on the notes. Let's just check the notes first before we call it up. Octane rate. Car condition, pretty decent. 32% for both of our drivers. Okay, what's the mechanics? Yeah, the mechanics did really well for us. Really helping us get through, even though they had some bits and issues in the back. Ooh, just a tenth of a second behind the record. And it was a mistake there. Yeah, let's go for another run, but, well, I think he's not going to be happy because we're going to be moving up to the Asia Pacific Super Cup, and I don't think he's going to get any bonuses with that. Alright, with all the notes cleaned up, I think that's going to be it for tonight. Thank you so much for staying. It was a bit exciting, and we did fail to get the final cup of the season, but at the very least, we got the championship for both racer and team. So I think that's going to be a good run at least. I'm not sure when we're going to continue on to the 2026 season and probably dab in the Asia Pacific Super Cup. I foresee some pretty good runs there since we don't have any of the key buildings needed to improve the parts, and we don't have speed for building those parts, so we'll just have to see if we can actually run it. For the time being, though, I think it's a good time to call it in. Pretty happy still, despite the fact that, yes, we didn't perform as well as I want to, but as long as our team is happy, I guess we're gonna be happy too. Anywho, if you got any complaints or valid reactions about the stream tonight, please do not hesitate to drop me a line on my Twitter or my Pixiv. If you've got a hankering for the older Motorsport Manager streams that have expired here on Twitch, or you any other any of the other streams that have already expired here as well, you can always check the VOD archive linked in the About tab of my profile page, or searchable on YouTube, same name, Lurk at Work, that's work with a U. If you're currently checking the VOD archive right now, hello, thanks for dropping by. If you got any complaints about this stream, please leave me a comment in the comment box below. Hope you can drop by for an actual live stream once in a while so I can talk to you. If circumstances prevent you from doing so, then at least you're dropping by for the VOD, so thanks for that still. Speaking of the channel, if you got a friend who might be interested in the stuff I stream or just wants to complain about PNG streamers in general, please, I would be grateful if you could share my channel to them, twitch.tv/lurkatwork. That's all for me for now. Tomorrow, we're still not sure if I'm going to be running on time or if I'm going to be running at all. So just keep an ear out on socials for that. But if we are, we might finally get back into Riller to do some missions for the Allied campaign and probably roll in. Anyway, thanks for dropping by. My UI is saying I got a new follower, but I'm not too sure where it is because it's not showing up on my feed filter. But if you're still here, thanks for joining. I hope you stay for longer as we do, or we delve some more in some of these crazier video games that I have in my backlog, and probably get back to drawing on stream. Well, that's all for me for now. Lurk at Work is now RTB. Unfortunately, I can't send you over to anybody else who might be streaming because nobody in my network is doing that anymore. I guess I ran a little too late. To be expected, though. Anywho, thanks again for watching, and I'll see y'all when I see y'all. Good night, everybody.